Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Getting Started series for Aero App. Whether you're new to the app or transitioning to a new device, this series is designed to help you get up and running quickly with Aero App for Android. We will start with Section 1, where we'll walk through the essential steps to set up and start using Aero App efficiently for your mission. First on our agenda is how to install and set up Aero App for Android. You will need an Android tablet with at least 16 gigabytes of space to install the app and a complete full data cycle download, which we will discuss further in Section 2 of this series. Make sure to also verify the operating system requirements for the specific app version you're using. There are several ways to install Aero App. You can download from the Aero App website or sideload the app file from the Aero App DVD. Let's start by visiting the Aero App website. You can use a computer and sideload the app file to your tablet, or you can download the app file directly to your device. For this presentation, we will be downloading the app file directly to the tablet. In your tablet, open an internet browser and enter aeroapp.info in the address bar. On the navigation menu, tap the hamburger button to reveal additional menus. Tap on Downloads, select Software, then choose Direct Install to Device. At this point, you will be prompted to authenticate. To proceed, you must have either a GEOAxIS or an Aero user database account. If you select GEOAxIS and are a first-time user, you must complete your initial account setup on a CAC-enabled computer with your CAC card inserted. This registration cannot be completed on a mobile device. If you do not yet have an Aero user database account, you must register on the Aero user database registration page. A valid .mil or .gov email address is required. Detailed registration instructions will be provided in the following sections. Once authenticated, you will be directed to the download page. Here, you will have access to two app releases, the previous version and the latest version. Select an app build. An installation confirmation will appear. Select Install to begin the download. Return to your tablet's home screen. The Aero App icon should now appear, indicating that the installation was successful. This section covers how to install Aero App through the Aero App DVD. Note that the DVD also includes aeronautical data for each cycle, which is released every 28 days on a per-cycle basis. First, you'll need to obtain the Aero App DVD. If you are interested in obtaining the Aero App DVD, contact the Defense Logistics Agency. To begin, ensure you have a desktop or laptop with an internal or external DVD drive, an Android tablet, and a way to connect your tablet to your computer. To start, connect a tablet to your computer. Insert the Aero App DVD into your computer's disk drive. If your computer doesn't have a built-in disk drive, use an external DVD drive instead. Open File Explorer and navigate to the DVD drive to view its contents. In the DVD drive, double-click the Apps folder to open it. Extract the app Android zip file to unzip it. Once unzipped, locate the extracted files on your computer. Copy the Android APK file. With another File Explorer folder open, navigate to the internal storage of your tablet. Paste the Android APK file in the tablet's internal storage. Open your tablet's home screen. The Aero App icon should now appear, indicating that the installation was successful. After installing Aero App, you will be prompted to grant permissions for location, nearby devices, notifications, and shared storage. To ensure the app works properly, allow access to your device's files when opening Aero App for the first time. If you accidentally deny any permissions, you can enable them at any time through your device's settings. Open the Settings app on your tablet. Tap Apps to view the list of installed applications. Select Aero App from the list. Tap Permissions under the Privacy section. In the Not Allowed section, select Location, Nearby Devices, and Notifications, then tap Allow for each one. To enable shared storage access, return to Settings and tap Apps. Tap the three-dot menu in the top right corner. Select Special Access. Tap All Files Access. Locate Aero App and toggle it on to grant access. Granting shared storage permission is required for features such as dropping pins and hazards on the map and sideloading pins, hazards, routes, user maps, and user geo packages. If shared storage access is not enabled, these features will not function, and you will be prompted to allow access. If prompted, follow the shared storage steps outlined in this section.
Welcome to Section 2 of the Getting Started series, where we will discuss the different ways to download Aero App data. Core data is updated every 28 days on a per-cycle basis. However, certain data types such as FAA sectional charts, helicopter and TAC charts,
FAA IFR in route charts,
FAA VFR charts, and Canada IFR charts are updated on a 56-day cycle.
To ensure you're using the most current data for your mission, we recommend using these timelines as a guide for when to check for new data. There are several ways to obtain data in Aero App. You can download data directly from the cloud through Amazon Web Services via ADS, which downloads data from a local server, or by visiting the Aero App website for direct downloads to your device. You can also use the Aero App DVD to sideload data directly onto your device. We will begin by downloading data directly in Aero App using Amazon Web Services. Aero App data is stored in the cloud through Amazon Web Services and can be accessed from anywhere in the world. To download data from the cloud, you will need a way to authenticate. You can authenticate using your Aero user database account through GEOAxIS or by configuring your device with MDM. To begin, we'll download data using your Aero user database account. But before we do that, we first need to set up your Aero user database account. In this section, you'll learn how to create an Aero user database account, which is used to authenticate and authorize access to Aero App software and data downloads. A valid .mil or .gov email address is required to create an account. Open an internet browser of choice. Type the following URL into the address bar. Then press Enter. Pause this video if necessary. The Aero user database registration form will appear. Every field must be completed in order to proceed. Check the box that says I am not a robot to complete the CAPTCHA, then click Create Account. Once you've completed these steps, a verification email will be sent to the email address you registered with. If you don't see the verification email in your inbox, make sure to check your junk or spam folder. If you're still having trouble, you can reach out to the Aero App support team for help. After verifying your email, you'll be set to download Aero App software and start accessing monthly cycle data, which is what we will go over in the next section of this series. Once your account is successfully set up, we will download Aero App data using your Aero user database credentials. Tap Data on the main menu. Choose Download on the Data Status page. AWS is selected by default on the navigation bar. Enter your username and password, then tap Connect. You can download core data for a specific cycle or access map library charts provided by the Aero App team. In this case, we'll be downloading core data for the latest cycle. Aero App provides data for the latest 3 cycles, but we recommend always selecting the most recent cycle when downloading data. Core data is divided into several categories. Cycle contains a cycle global file, regional files, FAA sectionals, and geo-reference data. Aero App Maps includes regional maps for IFR high and low in-route charts, as well as VFR maps. Helicopter and TAC maps are available for select regions. EAPLS is a digital library containing regional aeronautical charts, including instrument approach procedures, departure procedures, and standard terminal arrivals. Other includes the Earth base map, giant reports, terrain analysis, and terrain coloring. You can manually select individual data files, or you can use an easy button located at the top of the page labeled by region names. If you select a region name, Aero App will pre-select all data files associated with the specific region. Once you've selected the desired data, tap Download, and the download will begin. Once the download is complete, the files will display Found next to the downloaded files on the Data Status page, which we will cover in a later video. Another way to authenticate and access Aero App data from the cloud is through GEOAxIS. You can authenticate using your certificate-linked account login. Certificate-linked authentication allows you to access GEOAxIS on your iPad using credentials associated with your PKI certificate. An initial setup is required. You must have a CACT or NSS token to complete registration, and you'll need to create a CLA account from your user profile. Once your CLA account is set up, you can use your CLA credentials to log in to GEOAxIS on your tablet. After successful authentication, you will be redirected to Aero App. Select a cycle from the Cycles tab. You can manually select individual data files, or you can use an easy button located at the top of the page labeled by region names. If you select a region name, Aero App will pre-select all data files associated with the specific region. Once you've selected the desired data, tap Download, and the download will begin. Once the download is complete, the files will display found next to the downloaded files on the Data Status page, which we will cover in a later video. Mobile Device Management, also known as MDM, is another method of authentication for accessing Aero App data from the cloud. MDM automatically authenticates your device when accessing data, eliminating the need to manually enter credentials for downloading Aero App data. Your IT department will need to configure your device to securely connect to your organization's network. Tap Data on the main menu. Choose Downloads on the Data Status page. Choose MDM. The screen will show the status of your MDM connection. If the MDM page indicates that your device has not been configured by your IT department, ensure to contact your support team for assistance in setting up your device. Tap Connect. Select a cycle from the Cycles tab. You can manually select individual data files, or you can use an easy button located at the top of the page labeled by region names. If you select a region name, Aero App will pre-select all data files associated with the specific region. Once you've selected the desired data, tap Download, and the download will begin. Once the download is complete, the files will display found next to the downloaded files on the Data Status page, which we will cover in a later video. Aero App offers a map library for pilots to download a variety of maps. The map library includes a collection of user-requested charts, such as navplan, range charts, search and rescue charts, and more. To access Map Library, choose a form of authentication, then tap Connect. Once authenticated, select Map Library on the Data Download page. These files function as folders. Tap a folder to reveal subfolders, then tap a subfolder to view the available maps. To check the currency of the maps, tap the Date column header. This will display the effective dates, expiration dates, and the creation dates of the maps. If a map has expired, the created column will show Expired. Select desired map files, then tap Download, and the download will begin. In this section, we'll walk through downloading Aero App data using Aero Data Server, which provides aeronautical data over a local Wi-Fi network. We'll cover ADS features in a dedicated video, so in this video, we'll focus only on connecting to ADS in Aero App to download data. Tap Data on the main menu. Choose Download on the Data Status page. AWS is selected by default on the navigation bar. Tap Aero Data Server. The Discover button scans for servers on the same Wi-Fi network as your device, eliminating the need to enter an IP address and port number. You can also connect manually by entering the host and port information in the fields provided. Note that if you're connecting to a secure server, ensure that the necessary certificates are installed in ADS before attempting to connect. Once you've selected a server through Discover or entered the host and port manually, select a cycle from the Cycles tab. You can manually select individual data files, or you can use an easy button located at the top of the page labeled by region names. If you select a region name, Aero App will pre-select all data files associated with the specific region. Once you've selected the desired data, tap Download, and the download will begin. Once the download is complete, the files will display found next to the downloaded files on the Data Status page, which we will cover in a later video. The Aero App website offers an alternative method for downloading data straight to your computer or tablet. Access is available through GEOAxIS or your Aero user database login. However, for this section, we will cover how to authenticate with GEOAxIS. New GEOAxIS users must complete their initial registration. On your computer, open aeroapp.info in an internet browser. On the navigation menu, hover over Downloads to reveal additional menus. Select Data. Confirm that GEOAxIS Authentication is selected, then tap Login. There are two ways to authenticate with GEOAxIS: PKI Certificate Login and Certificate Linked Account Login. We'll start by going over Certificate Login Authentication. For desktop users, you'll log in using a PKI certificate, while tablet users will use a certificate linked account since PKI cards must be connected to a workstation. To use a certificate login, make sure your PKI certificate is installed, your card reader is plugged in, and your PKI card is inserted. Once everything is set up, this certificate will be used every time you log into GEOAxIS. When you attempt to authenticate, your browser will prompt you to select the certificate. Simply choose the certificate installed on your device, then enter the PIN you created during the initial setup. After a successful sign-in, a confirmation message will display. The page will be redirected to the Aero App download page. Click Cycles from the Cycles tab. Select the latest cycle or choose a cycle of your preference. You will be taken to the download page. In the upper right corner, you'll see an option to choose your data type. Full Data Files lets you download the entire dataset for that cycle. Delta Files let you quickly download only what's changed between a previous data cycle and the one you've selected. For this presentation, we'll choose Full Data Files. Select the zip and SIG files for your region of choice. Be sure to include the global zip and SIG files to download a complete data cycle. The files will download to your computer. Repeat this process until all required data is downloaded, and save them in an easy-to-find folder, which we'll reference in a later video when we sideload the files onto the iPad. Certificate-linked authentication allows you to access GEOAxIS on your tablet using credentials associated with your PKI certificate. An initial setup is required. You must have a CACT or NSS token to complete registration, and you'll need to create a CLA account from your user profile. Once your CLA account is set up, you can use your CLA credentials to log in to GEOAxIS on your tablet. Enter your credentials, then enter the multi-factor authentication PIN sent to your registered CLA email address. After a successful sign-in, a confirmation message will display. The page will be redirected to the Aero App download page. Tap Cycles from the Cycles tab. Select the latest cycle or choose a cycle of your preference. You will be taken to the download page. In the upper right corner, you'll see an option to choose your data type. Full Data Files lets you download the entire dataset for that cycle. Delta Files let you quickly download only what's changed between a previous data cycle and the one you've selected. For this presentation, we'll choose Full Data Files. Select the zip and SIG files for your region of choice. Be sure to include the global zip and SIG files to download a complete data cycle. The files will download to your iPad storage. Repeat this process until all required data is downloaded and save them in an easy-to-access location. Now, let's import the downloaded data files into Aero App. Open Aero App on your tablet and go to Settings. Select Data from the side navigation pane. Tap Choose for Path for data on SD card and computer settings, then locate the folder containing your downloaded data files. Open the folder, then tap Use this folder at the bottom of the screen. Grant permission to access the files. Once the import is complete, the files will display Found next to the data files on the Data Status page, which we will cover in a later video. In this section, we'll show how to access and download Aero App data from the Aero App website using an Aero User Database account. You must have an Aero User Database account to authenticate. If you don't have one, refer to the Create Aero User Database Account chapter of this Getting Started series. On your tablet's internet browser, enter aeroapp.info in the address bar. On the navigation menu, tap on Downloads, then select Data. GEOAxIS is selected by default. Tap Aero User Database. Enter your username and password. Check the box that says I am not a robot to complete the CAPTCHA, then tap Login. After successful authentication, the Aero App download page displays. Tap Cycles from the Cycles tab. Select the latest cycle or choose a cycle of your preference. You will be taken to the download page. In the upper right corner, you'll see an option to choose your data type. Full data files lets you download the entire dataset for that cycle. Delta files let you quickly download only what's changed between a previous data cycle and the one you've selected. For this presentation, we'll choose Full Data Files. Select the zip and SIG files for your region of choice. Be sure to include the global zip and SIG files to download a complete data cycle. The files will download to your iPad storage. Repeat this process until all required data is downloaded and save them in an easy-to-access location. Now, let's import the downloaded data files into Aero App. Open Aero App on your tablet and go to Settings. Select Data from the side navigation pane. Tap Choose for Path for data on SD card and computer settings, then locate the folder containing your downloaded data files. Open the folder, then tap Use this folder at the bottom of the screen. Grant permission to access the files. Once the import is complete, the files will display Found next to the data files on the data status page, which we will cover in a later video. This section explains how to retrieve Aero App data through the Aero App DVD. The Aero App DVD includes aeronautical data released every 28 days on a per-cycle basis. To begin, ensure you have a desktop or laptop with an internal or external DVD drive, an Android tablet, and a way to connect your tablet to your computer. To start, connect a tablet to your computer. Insert the Aero App DVD into your computer's disk drive. If your computer doesn't have a built-in disk drive, use an external DVD drive instead. Open the DVD drive and copy the zip and SIG files for your desired region. Include the global zip and SIG files to ensure a complete data cycle. Open your tablet's internal storage and paste the copied files into an easily accessible folder. Since the files were copied to the tablet's internal storage, Aero App will recognize and load them automatically. On your tablet, go to the data status page and tap Refresh. A successful sideload will display Found next to the data, which we will cover in a later video. In this section, we'll show you how to sideload data into Aero App. Once you've downloaded the necessary data needed for your mission, you will need to transfer it to your tablet by sideloading it into Aero App. In the previous videos, we've covered how to download data from several sources, so make sure your data is prepared and ready before continuing. To begin, connect your tablet to your desktop or laptop. Make sure your cycle data is saved in an accessible folder and includes the required global zip and SIG files, along with any additional data you plan to transfer. An internet connection is not required to sideload data. Open the folder containing the saved data you wish to sideload. Open a second File Explorer window to display the internal storage of your tablet. Drag the zip and SIG files you wish to transfer. Include the global zip and SIG files to ensure a complete data cycle. Then, drop the files into your tablet's internal storage. Since the files were copied to the tablet's internal storage, Aero App will recognize and load them automatically. On your tablet, go to the data status page and tap Refresh. A successful sideload will display Found next to the data, which we will cover in a later video. Welcome to Section 3 of the Getting Started series. In this section, we'll walk through how to manage your data in Aero App. We will begin with an overview of the data status page. The data status page allows you to monitor the status of your cycle data, download new data, and share data with other members of your crew. From this page, you can also delete an entire cycle data or delete them individually through File Manager. Let's take a closer look at the features on this page, starting with the active and standby cycles. The data stored in the active cycle is the data currently in use by Aero App. You also have the option to queue a second set of data by loading it into the standby cycle. The dates displayed beneath the active and standby cycles represent the effective dates of each cycle data, along with the corresponding cycle name. You have the option to delete an entire cycle data. View allows you to see the data available in either active or standby cycle. Swap lets you switch the data in active cycle with the data currently loaded in standby cycle and vice versa. Use deltas allows you to download delta files, which can significantly reduce download times. We'll walk through this process in more detail in the next video. Download takes you to the data download page, where you can download data from a selected data source. Refresh reloads the data status page to ensure you are viewing the most up-to-date file download status. Move to standby transfers newly downloaded data into active or standby cycle. Possible options are move to standby, load maps, add files to cycle, and load all data. Delete removes the data currently queued to be loaded into active or standby cycle. Share lets you upload data from your active or standby cycle to Aero Data Server. Once your data has been downloaded, the fields on the data status page will update to show the download status. For example, if a download was successful, the specific data will show a found status label. In this section, we'll show you how to manage data downloads in Aero App. In earlier videos, you learned how to download and sideload data. In this video, we will focus on activating and managing data so you can begin using Aero App. Aero App displays data notifications to alert you when there is no active cycle or when the active cycle is out of date. These notifications appear as a red banner at the top of the screen. You can load and manage 2 data cycles in Aero App, an active cycle and a standby cycle. After data is downloaded or sideloaded, a found status label appears next to the dataset. Before activating data, the cycle global file is required. If you sideloaded data, ensure both the global zip and sig files are also sideloaded. If these files are missing, the option to move data into standby cycle will be disabled. Be sure to download or sideload these files to properly activate your data. To begin, tap Move to Standby. Notice the banner at the top still displays no active cycle. This is because the data has not been activated yet. To activate the data, it must be loaded into active cycle. Tap Swap. The banner is now removed from the top of the screen, indicating that your data is active and ready to use. You can continue adding data files to the active cycle. If new data is downloaded for the same cycle, it can be added directly to the active cycle without moving it to standby first. If you see a data notification indicating your cycle is not current, this means a newer cycle is available for download. You can also confirm whether your data is up to date by checking the effective dates displayed below the active and standby cycles. Tap View to see all data files loaded in standby or active cycle. From this screen, you can delete an entire dataset or manage individual files through File Manager. In this section, we'll explain what Delta files are and how to download them in Aero App. To start, full data files are your complete, all-in-one datasets. They include the entire core data package, such as the global file along with regional files like Africa, Alaska, Canada, CONUS 1, CONUS 2, CSA, EEA, ENAME, and PAA. You can also download Aero App maps, helicopter and TACT maps, EPLs, and other data including Earth base map, giant reports, terrain analysis, and terrain coloring. Delta files are smaller, incremental updates that contain only the changes between core data cycles. Because they include only what has changed, Delta files allow for faster downloads compared to downloading an entire data cycle. Before downloading Delta files, make sure the following requirements are met. The global file is included, as it is required when downloading a new data cycle. A previous data cycle is already loaded in either the active or standby cycle. For example, the 2513 cycle must be downloaded and loaded in either active or standby cycle before you can download and apply Delta files for the next cycle 2601. Also, confirm that the Use Deltas option is enabled before proceeding. On the Data Status page, tap Download. Select the desired data source to download data. Select a cycle that is later than the cycle currently loaded in Aero App. Download the desired data and be sure to include the matching region files from the previous cycle. Return to the Data Status page and tap Add Files to Cycle. An Applying Deltas message will appear, indicating the updates are being processed. Tap Swap to load the data into Active Cycle. Your data is now activated. One important piece of information to keep in mind is that Delta files are not supported when sharing data with team members. Since Use Deltas is enabled by default, be sure to disable it before preparing data to share. Leaving this option enabled may cause issues when sharing data. In this section, we'll show you how to navigate and use File Manager in Aero App. File Manager is where all data files in Aero App are stored and managed. It contains the data you have downloaded and sideloaded and allows you to view and organize those files in one central location. To get started, let's open File Manager. On the Data Status page, tap Download. Choose File Manager on the Data Sources page. Once File Manager opens, you will see tabs across the navigation bar for different data types. Each tab organizes a specific type of data stored in Aero App. Tap a tab to view the files it contains. The available data types include Downloads, stores data files that are in queue to be loaded onto Active or Standby Cycle. Active contains data and regional files loaded on Active Cycle. Standby contains data and regional files loaded on Standby Cycle. Aero App Maps contains downloaded regional charts, including FAA, NGA, and Canada IFR high and low charts, as well as FAA VFR charts for the selected region. Map Library contains downloaded charts such as emergency charts, nav plan charts, range charts, and other reference charts. Document stores user-generated files such as pins, waypoints, KML and KMZ files, GeoPackages, GeoJSON, shapefiles, and PDFs. Other stores additional data such as Earth base map, giant reports, and terrain coloring downloads. Host Nation contains Host Nation chart downloads sorted by download date with the most recent files displayed at the top. From File Manager, you can also delete individual files. In this section, we'll walk through all the Aero App menus to help you get started using Aero App. Aero App includes main menus located at the top of the screen that can be repositioned to the bottom of the page if configured in settings or collapsed to hide them. Starting with Route, the Route panel can be expanded or collapsed based on your viewing preference. The Route panel contains your active route, including the ETA and ETE, information about each route point, and total route distance. Add enables users to create a route by adding identifiers such as airports, navaids, waypoints, airways, user waypoints, pins, MTRs, or entering coordinates in latitude and longitude, MGRS, GARS, or radial format. You can enter multiple identifiers or enter them one at a time. Within this view, you can save identifiers as favorites and view your favorites list. Edit enables users to delete or reorder entries within the route. Route Manager provides additional route configuration options organized into Actions, Add, Send, and Show menus. Actions include tools for managing your route. Load opens a list of routes that have been imported and saved in Aero App. Selecting a route from the list replaces the active route in the Route panel. Save stores the active route. The saved route will be available in both the Load and Show Routes menus. Reverse inverts the order of the points in the route. Clear deletes the entire route from the Route panel. The Add menu includes route features that can be added to or replace the active route. Air refueling routes can be added to your active route. If a route is already loaded in the Route panel, Aero App automatically inserts it in the optimal position. Preferred Route provides a list of established routes users can replace the active route with. This feature is available only for select routes. Search and Rescue lets you create search and rescue patterns for a specific area. These patterns can then be added to the active route to support rescue missions. The Send menu provides the option to file a flight plan directly from Aero App by connecting to your flight service account. From this menu, you can file, activate, close, cancel, and manage flight plans. The Show menu provides additional tools to help you during flight. Doghouses displays a doghouse for each leg of your route, showing details such as the next point, heading, distance, time, and whether you are ahead of, behind, or on schedule. Dropped Pins displays a list of created pins. From this view, you can create a new pin at your current location. Selecting a pin shows its details and gives you the option to view it on the map. Dropped Hazards displays a list of created hazards. From this view, you can create a new hazard. Selecting a hazard from the list displays its details and can be viewed on the map. Point Shapes marks individual points in the active route with shapes such as triangles, squares, and circles representing each point's position in the route. Routes can display multiple routes on the map based on the imported and saved routes in Aero App. User Waypoints displays user-created waypoints. From this view, you can add new waypoints or edit existing ones. Route Line Transparency allows you to adjust how transparent the route line appears on the map. The Search menu lets you look up identifiers or search terms. From this view, you can access airport giant reports, save identifiers as favorites, and view your favorites list. When you select an identifier from the Search menu, it becomes the active point. The active point provides information on the identifier. If the active point is an airport, a drop-down menu will appear when the menu is selected to view information or terminal charts. Information contains an overview of the identifier. The information provided varies based on the identifier type. If an airport is searched, additional details are available, including general information, AQP images, communications, runways, and remarks. You can also access chart supplements, giant reports, and host nation charts for airports. From the drop-down, you can view various airport-related charts, including airport diagrams, instrument approach procedures, departure procedures, arrival procedures, minimums, and other charts. You also have access to weather data, where you can view internet weather such as real-time METARs and TAFs, as well as NOTAMs. Selecting NOTAMs will redirect you to a website for more detailed NOTAM information. Additionally, you can view Air Force weather data such as METARs, which shows current weather reports, terminal area forecasts, wind information, temps for current temperatures, PIREPs, and NOTAMs. Map displays a worldwide moving map with overlays and tools to assist in navigation and mission tasks. The Flight Information panel shows details about the current flight, including speed, which shows the own ship's current ground speed in knots, Zulu time. Track displays the actual direction the own ship is traveling over the ground based on the GPS. Below this, Cross-Track shows the deviation from the course. An arrow indicates the direction to get back on track. Altitude displays the GPS altitude. You can adjust it by tapping the current value to match your altimeter reading. Total Breadcrumbs displays distance in nautical miles or kilometers depending on the distance unit set in settings. Center Target Coordinates displays the latitude, longitude, and MGRS coordinates of the center target, which updates as you move the map. Distance and bearing readings display when the center target is active. A yellow tag on the flight panel outputs the distance and bearing in degrees of the own ship to the center target. When enabled, Breadcrumbs records your position at intervals of 10 seconds, 1 minute, 1 hour, or based on distance increments. You can also manually add breadcrumbs, clear them, or export them in KML, route list, or SQLite format. Timer offers two modes, count up and count down. Timer includes an alert system that notifies you of the time remaining. You can also reposition the timer on the map. Air Force Weather enables you to download the latest Air Force weather and temporary flight restriction data. ADSB information shows real-time data of your ADSB hardware, including receiver status and health. Map Manager provides map configuration options. Use this menu to enable or disable maps and overlays shown on the map. Maps are organized into the following sections. Aero App Maps includes aero maps such as FAA, VFR, IFR High, IFR Low, Maxar Online, and OpenStreetMap. Base Maps includes Earth and Gray base maps. Maxar Offline allows you to download and view cached Maxar imagery. Helicopter and TAC maps include helicopter, Gulf Coast, helicopter, routes, and terminal area charts. Map Library contains downloaded map library charts. User Geo Packages lists sideloaded user geo packages. And User Maps lists sideloaded user maps. Overlays provide options for displaying map overlays. These overlays are organized into several sections. Aero overlays can be displayed on the map to provide additional situational awareness. The following section briefly describes each overlay available in Aero App for Android. For full details, refer to the Aero App for Android user manual on the Aero App website. Available Aero overlays include Air Defense Identification Zones, Airports, Air Refueling Routes, Airspaces, B, C, and D, Airways, Arresting Gear Locations, Air Route, Traffic Control Centers, Flight Information Regions, Hazards, International Boundaries, Military Training Routes, Pins, Place Names, Runways, Search and Rescue Grids, Special Use Airspaces, Talon Point Survey Locations, Terrain, Temporary Flight Restrictions, Time Zones, User Images, and Vertical Obstructions at or above 150 feet. Traffic lets you display nearby traffic. User overlays list any side-loaded user overlays. You can share KML and KMZ files using QuickShare. Weather overlays let you display weather data directly on the map, including METARs and real-time ADS-B weather. Map options provide settings related to location tools and ownership display on the map. Location includes tools that help with positional awareness. The tools include Breadcrumbs, which shows the breadcrumb trail on the map. Distance Rings displays distance rings around the ownership for range reference. Ownership lets you customize how your aircraft is displayed on the map, snapping the map to your location and switching between North Up and Track Up. Split Screen enables you to divide the screen to view the map alongside a terminal chart or other documents. You can view your destination's APD and IAP charts in split-screen view, as well as draw-on charts. Users can also view PDFs on split screen. You can switch to display PDF documents in split screen for reference while viewing the map. Pin lets you view your list of dropped pins. Selecting a pin shows its details and gives you the option to view it on the map. You can also create a new pin at your current location. Move Map to Location lets you search for an identifier and move the map to the specified location. From this view, you can save identifiers as favorites and view your favorites list. Snap to Location is a shorthand way to quickly center the map on your current GPS location. General provides access to regional charts, supplements, planning documents, user files, and legend, all of which can be viewed directly in Aero App. Weather includes menus for weather images and DD 175-1 briefings. Weather Images lets you view real-time weather images provided by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. DD 175-1 briefings is where you can download and view official weather briefings. Once downloaded, they are saved on the device, so you can easily access them anytime. Calculators contain menus to display the E6B calculator or fuel check calculator. The E6B calculator is a digital calculator that contains aviation functions for altitude, cold weather, conversions which can be calculated based on distance, pressure, temperature, and weight. Coordinates can be calculated based on GARS, latitude and longitude, MGRS, and radial. You can insert these values into your route or insert at the end of your route. You can calculate descent. Distance can be calculated based on distance, ground speed, and time. There's IFR climb, runway winds, and winds aloft. Fuel check calculates the fuel burn and the time remaining based on flight duration and starting fuel. Notepad lets you jot down notes with your fingers or a stylus. The notepad comes with 3 reusable pages. You have the option to undo what you've written or clear an entire sheet. Help contains all the necessary links and information about Aero App. You can view the What's New, web links, user manual, and the About page. The Data Status page lets you manage, download, and share your data. For a detailed walkthrough of this page, be sure to check the dedicated section on Data Status. Let's take a look at the Settings menu. This is where you can customize how Aero App behaves and how information is displayed. The settings are organized into 5 categories: miscellaneous, profiles, reset, route, and user interface. Bluetooth contains settings for connecting devices such as ADS-B and GPS receivers to Aero App, including allow background location collection, Android Bluetooth settings, currently connected devices. This option is available only if a device is connected, device type, and select paired device to connect. Data lets you configure how Aero App stores and locates data on external storage devices, such as an SD card or a connected computer. The settings include selecting the path for data on an SD card and computer, searching for data on SD card and computer, and using SD card to store data. Miscellaneous includes settings for airport ring on APD and IAP, home field, minimum runway length, next waypoint buffer, ownership on APD and IAP, secret, and automatic switching to APD on landing, including the speed at which it switches. Reset allows users to clear all APD and IAP chart markups. Route includes a setting to automatically scroll to the current leg in your route. User interface customizes Aero App's appearance and behavior, including big buttons on main menu, confirm on delete, coordinates unit, display text for main menu, distance unit, info text size, main menu at top, and switching between night mode and light mode. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more Aero App content.